Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Elle. I'm an interiors DIY blogger and YouTuber, and today I'm coming back with an oldie but goodie DIY, which is the DIY faux stone vase. But this time we are elevating it, we are going bigger, larger, and I just can't wait to share this with you guys. So if you're new to the channel, I have done this technique twice now, one recently and one over a year ago, and it's always a very popular DIY to do. And what I like to do is just kind of mix it up in terms of like changing it every time, just see what works, what doesn't work, etc, etc. This time I am going in with some detail, so we're still going in with that kind of faux stone texture that you can create with some simple household stuff that you can easily find in your cupboards, but we're going to add details. We're going to just create a little bit more interest than just the standard stuff that I've been doing on the channel. As with most of my DIY projects, I'm heavily influenced by things that I've seen online, particularly McGee & Co, and the reason why I DIY or dupe them is because A, we can't get it here in the UK, and B, it's just expensive and it wouldn't be something that I can say, oh yeah, definitely justify spending money on that right now. For this DIY project in particular, I've been inspired by this picture here. It is a gorgeous vase. I think it's beautiful, it's huge. I would love to have an entryway that big, to have something in it with loads of branches coming out of it and whatnot. That's just not possible in our home, but I definitely could see that vase sitting somewhere in our home with a couple of branches that you know I'm going to forage right after this video. And yeah, I decided let's give it a dupe. What really particularly inspired me by this was just the detail around the outside of the vase, and at the top it looks like there's like a little ridge. And I definitely thought that is something I could attempt to do, whether or not I build it up with the paint mixture or I go in with maybe some string and kind of attach it that way and create that ridge. Who knows? I'm going to give it a go. I'm going to test. I have not exactly planned out how I'm going to do this. We shall see. So for this DIY, you're going to need a couple of things. Like as I said, most of the stuff you'll find around your house or it's easily available. So the first thing you're going to need to get is your actual vase that you want to create a stone-like texture. Now I'm using vases pretty much at the moment, but you can also use like objects, decorative pieces that you just want to kind of, you know, change the texture of. I have a video which I will link down below along with like all my other stone projects where I actually turned these felt artichokes into like a chalky stone texture. So it doesn't have to just be solely something that holds something, a vessel as such. It can be anything that you just want to apply like a stony texture to. Now my vase in particular, like I said, we're going larger and bigger this time. This is humongous. I found this at my local home sense. It was $16.99. It's huge and I love it, and like I said, I know exactly where I'm going to put it in my living room once completed, and with some forage branches, absolutely. So you can pick up any sort of glass vase. You can also go for one that is stone or ceramic or whatever, just anything that you need to apply the texture to. So along with the vase, you're going to need the material to create the stone-like texture. My try and tested method, which has worked every single time, is getting some emulsion paint. This is a tester pot from my local DIY store. It cost me £4, and this is the one that I used on the previous DIY project that I worked on. And you need some bicarb soda. It's the combination of these two that creates that kind of thick putty texture. There's no real measurements to it, it's just try and test, see what thickness you get. You can go really thick, you can go really thin, it just depends entirely on what the look is you're going for. And then after that, what you need to do is get some acrylic paint, and that's going to where you're going to add in sort of the colour that you want to go with. So you can do whatever you want. You can go black, you can go kind of a grey concrete colour. I myself are going to go for that kind of dark brown that's in our reference photo. So for that, I have these acrylic paints here. These are tried and tested ones that I use across many DIYs. They're like a stony texture, a taupe, a beige and a white. And I think the combination of these will look beautiful on this piece. You'll also need brushes, which you can grab from any craft store, anything like that. And that is literally it. That is all you need in order to create this DIY project. So what I'm going to do is get this set up, and I'm going to start painting the stone texture on it. I'm going to do the base first, and then I'm going to look and see about doing the detail once that first layer is dried. Okay guys, so this is the first layer done and she is looking gorgeous. In terms of measurements of paint, I went with 3 teaspoons of bicarb soda with a glug and a bit of emulsion paint. I'm sorry, I haven't got precise measurements. You just really have to see what feels right for you. Because this vase that I'm looking at is quite fine and very kind of not gritty, I wanted to make sure that like I recapture that. So I really wanted kind of like almost like a wet thickness to it. So this is gonna build up as we go along, and that is another tip that I've learned from doing this DIY in the past. A little goes a long way. So little, often layers is much better than just sloshing a big thick amount of paint on it. What I find with the paint, if you're sloshing a big thick bit, it doesn't have a chance to grab to what you are painting, particularly if it's glass. So little layers, let it dry for an hour or so, come back to it, keep building it, and then leave it to dry overnight is the perfect method to make sure you've got the perfect vase to paint the next day. Now, some people have commented in my previous videos why I don't prime, as rightfully so. Prime would make sure that everything grabs nicely onto very much a shiny material like glass. The only reason why I don't do it is because of the cost. When I've had a look for prime, particularly when it's something like this, I don't want to buy a big tub of prime paint. Like if it came in a tester pot, that was fine. But it's very hard to find tester pots of primer paint. And when I do so, they're about 15 quid, and I just think, it's not worth it for how much I'm gonna need to do this. So in order to keep the cost down, I am just going on it straight with the paint. By all means, if you would like to prime first, there's absolutely a step I would suggest, but for me, it was just not worth it. So as mentioned, I'm gonna leave this alone for about an hour or so. I'm gonna go out in the garden and do some bits, and then I'm gonna come back with it with a second layer. I reckon 2 layers will be good for this. You know, it's fairly covered and it dries much more thick and solid. It looks quite wishy-washy at the moment, but trust me, when it dries, it will look like it's fully covered. So yeah, I think 1 or 2, and I'm gonna test about doing the ridges. So the ones that it is there's a ridge there and a ridge there. And I think definitely what I'm gonna do is use some string. So something that I've got that's quite thin and like easy available because I like to garden is this. So this is gardener's twine. It's very thin and I use it all the time in my garden, but I'm just thinking about just seeing if I can stick it with the paint and cover it over the top in terms of creating that ridge. It's gonna be interesting. I can't guarantee it's gonna work, but we're gonna try. These are what all these DIY videos are about, is just trying and learning from our errors. So let's leave this dry and then let's get experimental in about an hour or so and see what we can do in terms of creating detail on this project. Okay guys, it is the next day, and yes, I am wearing the exact same outfit and hair as I was previously. But we have left our vase to dry for 24 hours overnight, and she is looking incredible. The string has actually worked, so you can kind of see the texture on there, and I absolutely love it. Basically what I did was do a second coat, and then whilst it was wet, I applied the string on it so that it would dry there, and then once I'd left it for a full hour, I went in with a third coat over the string, going it in the direction of the string, if that makes sense, just to fully cover it up. I will say with this, you can't really see it on camera, but definitely when you get close, you can see the texture of the twine. So to do this method, I would recommend going with like a more smoother string. Obviously you can go as thick or as thin as you want. And I actually don't mind that, like here you can see it's just a little bit wonky, like that adds to the charm and the character of it. It looks homemade. So I'm very, very happy, and I definitely think it's one of those where it's like, you know, far back looks great, you know, obviously up close it's gonna look a bit handmade, but who cares? Like, I am so happy with how this turned out. So the next bit is just to paint and age it, which I'm going to use my phone as reference to kind of get the colour. We're going for that sandy colour, we're going for that kind of very aged up colour. So it's definitely going to be a mixture of the taupe with the brown and just kind of having a play with it and see how it goes. So yeah, let me get you set up guys on the time lapse. Let's finish this off, and then the next time I'll speak to you is when I'm finally revealing the finishing touches to this DIY. I forgot to mention guys, the methods that I'm going to use in order to create the look on this vase is similar methods that I've used in the past, which is a mixture of paint brushes, although I have lost my big paintbrush, so I've got fine ones. But I'm also going to use a method of kitchen roll, wet and damp, just to really create that kind of splattered age effect, which is what I did on my previous DIY. So those videos are linked down below so you can see those methods, but it's going to be a mixture to create that age look. All right, let's get started. Okay guys, it is the next day and the DIY is completed. You can see a tiny little sneak peek of it out in the corner just there. So the painting method, I kind of went a little bit different to what I've usually done, and if I'm honest, it's turned out better than expected. So I went in with the paint on a kitchen towel dry and put that all over the vase, playing with the different tones of sort of like a nice taupey colour and then a darker brown. I used a paintbrush to kind of get into more of the detailed bits, so obviously around the rim and where the string was. And then what I did was create a much lighter colour that was almost chalky in its look, and then with a damp paper towel I went over the complete thing to blend everything in and make it look seamless. Left it to dry overnight, and yep, it is ready to show off today. Oh, so Dash really wants to show off the vase as well, so let's do the reveal in 3, 2, 1. So that is the vase completed, and if I'm honest, it doesn't look exactly how it looks on the McGee & Co website, but I think it looks so much better and I'm obsessed with it. I particularly love it on my new side table, which I just picked up the other day, and it's just created this lovely vignette space right here in this corner, and yeah, I'm so happy with the way it turned out. I think it's a great piece for just creating volume, creating height, and yeah, I'm just so excited and so happy with the way it turned out. If you did like this DIY video, do give it a thumbs up and let me know in the comments below if you're going to be trying it out. If you're not subscribed already, please do so. We do lots of DIYs, we've got plenty more coming, we've got lots more happening in this room, other little mini DIY projects, and another makeover coming very, very soon to the channel, and we also do lots of vlogs and stuff like that as little gap fillers. If there's any content you do want to see, let me know in the comments below, or message me on Instagram or anything like that, and I'll happily take any suggestions of what you would like to see. Thank you so much guys for watching. Have a lovely rest of your day and the rest of your week, and I'll see you guys very, very soon. Bye!